Hello, fellow collectors. Frank M. TTM here, back with another TTM SUCCESS video. TTM stands for Through the Mail. Success autographs. I have 4 in the box today, 4 to share today, 4 TTM. Hope you're all well today. Let's get right at it. First, we have a 2-for-1 in 12 days. No fee out of North Texas, Dallas, Texas. We have Mr. Dr. Bobby Brown on this 1993 Ted Williams card, and he also signed the index card, which I appreciate. That right here, Doc Brown, as his nickname is. This is Robert William Brown, born October 24th, 1924, in Seattle, Washington. He is 96 years young. Man, good looking signature for 96 years, going strong. Mr. Brown was a left-handed batting, right-handed throwing, slick fielding third baseman, sometimes shortstop, who played 8 seasons in the majors, 1946 to 1954, all with the New York Yankees. He later became a baseball executive who was the president of the American League from 1984 to 1994. He was also a physician who studied for his medical degree during his 8-year playing career, earning it from Tulane University in New Orleans. After his playing career, he practiced cardiology in the Dallas-Fort Worth area until May of 1974, so Dr. Bobby Brown. However, well before Bobby Brown thrilled the hearts of Yankee fans with his play or practiced cardiology medicine, he was known as a hero in another way. This is an interesting story here. During his time at pre-med school in Stanford in 1941, he and another student were on a beach after a Coast Guard aircraft returning from an anti-submarine patrol crashed in the Pacific Ocean. Seeing a crew member floating in the water in distress, he and the other student jumped into action. Brown accounted, "We could see the one person floating in the water. He wasn't moving, so we knew he needed help." It was estimated by Brown and others that he was swimming in the ocean for nearly an hour while assisting the injured crew member and helping to get him to shore. Brown received a Coast Guard Silver Life-Saving Medal for his part in the heroic rescue. Also, before his time with the Yankees, Brown served in the military during World War II. In 1943, Brown enlisted in the United States Navy. Due to his major in pre-med, he was signed to a unit at UCLA. It was signed to San Diego Naval Hospital on temporary duty for part of the time. Later, while on a contract with the Yankees, Brown served during the Korean War. When the Korean conflict broke out, Dr. Brown was eligible for the doctor's draft since he had not served overseas during World War II. He was sent to Korea to serve with the 45th Division in the United States Army. He was signed to the 160th Field Artillery Battalion, heading the battalion aid station. Brown is a decorated veteran of 2 wars, so thank you so much for your service, Mr. Brown. I do appreciate it very much personally, serving for our country. Doc Brown, as he's nicknamed, was signed by the New York Yankees as an amateur free agent before the 1946 season. He made his major league debut on Sunday, September 22nd in 1946 at Yankee Stadium. Starting at the shortstop position and hit in the 3 spot in front of Joe DiMaggio in both games of a doubleheader versus the Philadelphia Athletics. Brown would have combined 2 for 5 with 2 singles, 2 walks, and 2 run scores. The Yankees won both games. As printed in the New York Times the next day, this is how his performance was described. Brown, who was a runner-up to Jackie Robinson for the International League Batting Championship, got a hit in each game and fielded his position brilliantly. The Times also described the debut of another rookie, who started Game 1. The name printed in the Times was Larry Berra, or you might know him as Yogi Berra, the great Yankee future Hall of Fame catcher. The Times described Berra's debut like this. Berra caught Spud Chandler in the opener and slammed a 2-run home run and a single as Chandler notched his 19th victory of the year. Yogi also pinch hit in Game 2, had 2 hits and 5 at-bats during the doubleheader. Famous stories that had made rounds for years in baseball circle, as told by Brown himself, concerns the time when Brown and Yogi, who had little formal education, were roommate on the road in AAA. The two were reading in their hotel room one night. Berra, a comic book, and Brown his copy of the medical textbook Boyd's Pathology. Berra came to the end of his comic, tossed it aside, and asked to Brown, "So how's yours turning out?" Very funny. Gotta love Berra. Gotta love Yogiisms. During the duo's official rookie season in 1947, Brown hit 300 and 150 at-bats while splitting time between third base and shortstop, as Berra, who hit 11 dingers and 293 at-bats, split time behind the plate with 47 All-Star catcher Aaron Robinson. Yankees went on to win the World Series that year. Brown is the oldest living member of the world champion 1947 New York Yankees. He's on the oldest world champion team. No teams before 47 have a living player. During Brown's career, those damn Yankees won 4 World Series, in which Brown hit for a combined .439 batting average with 5 doubles, 3 triples, 9 runs scored, 9 RBIs, and 48 World Series at-bats. Some of Brown's highlights included a base-loaded triple in Game 4 and a 2-run triple in the championship clinch in Game 5 of the 1949 World Series. He tripled again in the final game of the 1950 World Series. Brown was a career .297 hitter with 2 doubles, 14 triples, 22 home runs, 233 runs scored, and 237 RBIs in 1,863 at-bats. Thank you so much, Dr. Brown. Doc Brown, Dr. Bobby Brown. The doctor is in. Very nice. Really happy with this return here. And I know I'm a Red Sox fan and he's a Yankee, but man, this guy's story was amazing. I just had to share it. Thank you so much, Dr. Brown. Next to the buck, we have a 1-for-1 in 12 days. This was for a $10 donation. It's out of North Texas, Dallas, Texas. We have Mr. Ed Too Tall Jones. Looking nice in blue ink here with its number 72 inscribed. This is Ed Lee, nicknamed Too Tall Jones, on this 1989 scorecard. He was born February 23rd, 1951 in Jackson, Tennessee, 70 years old. Jones was a 6'9" defensive end who played 15 seasons, from 74 to 1989 in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys. He was the first overall draft pick in the 1974 NFL draft by the Cowboys out of Tennessee State University. He first got his famous nickname Too Tall during his first college football practice with the TSU Tigers, after a teammate mentioned that his pants did not fit because he was too tall to play football. He became a 2-time All-American defensive lineman, playing on a team that lost only 2 games en route to winning the Black College Football National Championship in 1971 and 1973. In the 1974 NFL Draft, for the first time in their history, the Dallas Cowboys had the first overall draft choice. The number 1 selection was acquired from the Houston Oilers in exchange for Tody Smith and Billy Parks. With the Cowboys drafting, Jones became the first football player from a historically black college to go that high in the NFL draft. Jones was one of the most dominant defensive players of his era, who played on some very good Dallas Cowboy teams. In total, Jones played in 16 playoff games and 3 Super Bowls. He was part of 3 NFC championship teams. Early in his career during the 1977 season, he helped the Cowboys win Super Bowl XII, 27-10 over the Denver Broncos. Jones earned All-Pro and Pro Bowl honors 3 times from 1981 to 1983. He played in 224 career games, never missing a game, and officially had 106 career sacks. I say unofficially because the NFL did not officially start recording the quarterback stat until 1982. His official stat number start in 1982 is 57.5 sacks. He also had 3 interceptions and 19 fumble recoveries. In 1979, Jones, at 28 years old in the prime of his athletic career, left football to pursue his first love, professional boxing. He was a boxer even before he played football. He did not play in the NFL during the 1979 season. A former Golden Gloves fighter in Tennessee, Jones would fight 6 professional bouts as a heavyweight, with a perfect 6-0 record and 5 knockouts. Due to his high profile as a football player, all of Jones' fights were televised nationally by CBS. He returned to the NFL the next season, and he is quoted as saying, his boxing training regimen made him a better football player. Too Tall Jones was inducted into the Black College Football Hall of Fame in 2013. And surprisingly to me, he's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame yet. I think he deserves a good look. What do you think? Thank you so much, Mr. Jones. I do appreciate it. Next to the box, we have a 2-for-1 in 10 days, no fee, out of Fort Myers, Florida. We have Mr. Bob Gladio here on this 1973 Topps in blue ink. He did answer a few questions, which I will definitely get to in a few moments, and he also signed the index card. It's Bob Harpo Gladlo. Oh, sorry. Bob Harpo Gladio, number 24. Go Pats. Nice. Put that right there. This is Robert Joseph Harpo Gladio, who was born January 2nd, 1947, in Louisville, Ohio. He's 74 years young. He was a 5'11", 190-pound running back that played 4 seasons in the American Football League, then National Football League for the Boston, then New England Patriots from 1969 and 1972, and he played 2 games with the Buffalo Bills in 1970. He was drafted in the 8th round of the 1969 draft by the Boston Patriots out of Notre Dame. Shout out to Tony Black, where he was a star running back for the Fighting Irish, rushing for 1,208 yards and 263 attempts in 3 seasons. Nicknamed Harpo for his flock of frizzly blonde hair, one Boston Globe article from 1971 describes him as having a look somewhat like a Roman gladiator with a mess of curly hair plucked down on his head. And he's just as competitive. At 5'11", he was like the underdog gladiator fighting against a giant. He was called too small, too slow to compete in the NFL. But he did. He emerged in his first 2 seasons part of a special teams crew which Will McDonough of the Boston Globe called the best bomb squad in the league in late 1969. But during its first 2 seasons with the Patriots, he also lived in fear of being cut, and was for 2 games into the 1970 season after a surprise performance with the Patriots in the season opener, which I will get to when I read the questions he answered. He was signed by the Buffalo Bills to be the backup to O.J. Simpson, but was back with the Patriots just after 2 games with the Bills, where he re-emerged as a special teams captain for the 1971 now New England Patriots in the NFL. He was cut after the 1972 season. At the running back position, Harpo rushed for a career 239 yards on 65 carries, received for 252 yards and 25 catches in 45 career games, 6 of them starts. Did not score a touchdown in his 4-year career. He also played in the World Football League for the New York Stars in 1974. And he did answer a few questions, which I always do appreciate, and I do appreciate these questions he answered here. Mr. Gladio, who was your favorite teammate? It's Gino Cappelletti. Was a wide receiver and a kicker for the Boston Patriots from 1960 to 1970. And the second question, what was your favorite memorable play? Called out of the stands? Made a tackle and opening kickoff. So I looked this up. I didn't know about this story until I found this, and this is a cool story here. So I read an article in the New York Times, a recent, early 2012 article that reflected on the early days of the Patriots, and he just told this story here, and I'll read from the New York Times here. The former Notre Dame running back Bob Gladio had been cut from the Patriots a few days earlier, but decided to attend the season opener anyway with a friend. So this was a season opener for the Patriots on September 20th, 1970 at Harvard Stadium versus the Miami Dolphins. Seated in the old concrete Harvard horseshoe before the start of the game, the two had already had a couple of beers when Gladio's friend agreed to get another round. Just after he left, the public address cackled, "Bob Gladio, please report to Patriots dressing room." Gladio went downstairs and was told to suit up. Last-minute contract disputes had left the Patriots short. Gladio, nicknamed Harpo for his flock of frizzly blonde hair, hurriedly donned his pads and was soon running down the field on the opening kickoff against the Miami Dolphins. Back in the stands, his friend wondered why he was all alone. He looked up to see the Dolphins' kick returner go down in the arms of number 24 for the Patriots, Bob Gladio. "Tackle by Gladio," the public address announcer said. His teammate guard Len St. Jean said, "When we saw Harpo's buddy lady said, 'I knew I was drinking, but not enough to be hearing things.'" The Patriots won the game, one of two victories in another last-paced season, so that was a pretty funny story there. Imagine going to the game with your buddy and all of a sudden you're going and get a beer and hey, he's out in the field, traded a tackle on the opening kickoff. Pretty funny, and I did ask him what is his hobbies nowadays. He enjoys puzzles, and I like his smiley face there. Thank you so much, Mr. Gladio. Really happy with this return here, and that great story. Last in the box here, we have a 1-for-1 in 12 days, no fee. Out of Tampa, Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida, we have Mr. Doug Bidwan on this 1979 Topps Blue Ink. That's a nice signature there. We'll talk about Mr. Bidwan here. He answered a few questions, which I'll get to in just a moment. This is Douglas Lee Bidwan, born May 15, 1954, Dickinson, North Dakota. He's 66 years young. He was a 6'1", 193-pound safety that played 6 seasons, 1976 to 1981 in the NFL with the New England Patriots for 4 seasons, 76 to 79, and played a season with the Dolphins in 1980 and the San Diego Chargers in 81. He was drafted by the New England Patriots in the 9th round of the 1976 NFL Draft out of the University of Minnesota. An All-American football and basketball at Jamestown High School in Jamestown, North Dakota. With the Minnesota Golden Gophers, he was a 4-year starter at safety in the NCAA's Big Ten Conference. He played with some good Patriots teams of the late 70s, two of which made the divisional round of the playoffs in 76 and 78. He had a career 4 interceptions for 55 yards in 59 games. He also played with the short-lived United States Football League with the Tampa Bay Bandits for an entire tenure of the league from 1983 to 1985. So, and he answered a few questions, which I do appreciate, Mr. Bordeaux. Who was your favorite Patriots teammate? That would be Mike Haynes. Mike Haynes, a Hall of Famer. Now was a star defensive back with the Patriots, later as the Raiders in the 70s and 80s, and I asked him, what was the most memorable play in the NFL? Intercepting Bob Greasy twice in Foxborough. So, Bob Greasy was a star quarterback with the Dolphins, who is now in the Hall of Fame. And this mentioned game here occurred The second quarter of a game on Sunday, October 22nd, 1978, between the two division rivals at Schaefer Stadium, Miami. And a nail-biting 34-24 win for the Patriots, which put the Pats sole possession of first place. In a season where the Patriots ended up winning the division, where the Patriots and Dolphins each have an 11-5 record. In the win, both interceptions gave the Patriots good field position, which resulted in 2 touchdowns. So they were very key in that win. And interesting, Greasy only had 172 career interceptions, and only 11 in that season in 12 contests, and Bordeaux happened to be 2 of them. So, thank you so much, Mr. Bordeaux. Do appreciate it very much. Well, I want to thank Dr. Bobby Brown here for your sign. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Mr. Ed Too Tall Jones, Mr. Bob Gladio, and Mr. Doug Bajuan for these returns. Quite appreciated. I hope you all having a good day, doing a little midweek TTM here. Well, I want to say to you, take care. God bless. Peace. Have a good one. Later.